This is a Spanish listening lesson for A1 and A2 learners. By the end of the video, you'll understand this audio with ease.
Mi nombre es Ana y soy médica. Ayudo a las personas cuando están enfermas.
First, you'll hear the audio with English subtitles, and then again, this time with Spanish subtitles. After that, I'll break down each sentence, focusing on grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. Next, you'll hear the audio without any subtitles. And finally, there'll be a quiz to test what you've learned. Welcome to Spanish Mastery with Steve. Let's begin.
Mi nombre es Ana y soy médica. Ayudo a las personas cuando están enfermas. Trabajo en un hospital en la ciudad. Veo a muchos pacientes todos los días. Escucho sus problemas y hago preguntas. Doy medicamentos y consejos para ayudarlos a sentirse mejor. Me siento feliz porque ayudo a las personas a mantenerse saludables.
And now with Spanish subtitles.
Mi nombre es Ana y soy médica. Ayudo a las personas cuando están enfermas. Trabajo en un hospital en la ciudad. Veo a muchos pacientes todos los días. Escucho sus problemas y hago preguntas. Doy medicamentos y consejos para ayudarlos a sentirse mejor. Me siento feliz porque ayudo a las personas a mantenerse saludables.
Soy médica, I'm a doctor, shows us how in Spanish you do not need to use an article like you do in English, where we would say, I am a doctor. Also, médica is the feminine form of the noun doctor. If it were a male doctor, he would say, soy médico.
Mi nombre es Ana y soy médica.
Ayudo a las personas means I help people. And here we have an example of the personal a. There are some notes on screen now. We use the personal a before a specific person or people who receive an action. Están enfermas means they are sick. And the verb estar is used in this example. Remember, in Spanish, there are two verbs which mean be, ser and estar is used for temporary health conditions. The adjective enfermo changes to match the gender and the number of the noun it is describing. And that is why in the example we have enfermas because the noun is las personas, which is a feminine plural noun.
Ayudo a las personas cuando están enfermas.
Trabajo means I work, and mi trabajo is my job, or un trabajo is a job. We have a silent H in the word for hospital, hospital, and let's take a look at the Spanish word for city. This has two possible pronunciations, ciudad or ciudad. That is because the combination of C and I is pronounced differently depending on where the Spanish speaker comes from, or, in my case, where the person learned Spanish. So, ciudad with an S sound or ciudad with a th sound.
Trabajo en un hospital en la ciudad.
In the phrase veo a muchos pacientes, I see many patients, we have another example of the personal a, and we also have that combination of ci in the word pacientes which we just discussed. In this sentence we also have the adjective mucho, which like enfermo changes to match the gender and number of the noun it describes. Here are some notes on screen for you to pause and have a quick read.
Veo a muchos pacientes todos los días.
I listen to is translated as escucho, and notice how in English we use the preposition to, but this is not used in Spanish. We also have hago preguntas, I ask questions. Hago is the first person singular of the verb hacer, to do or make, so the literal translation is I do or make questions.
Escucho sus problemas y hago preguntas.
In this sentence we have doy, I give, medicamentos, medicine, consejos, advice. Notice how medicine translates as medicamentos. It is plural in Spanish, and also advice, consejos, also plural in Spanish. If we look at the verb ayudar, we have the pronoun los tagged on to the end. That means to help them. So los translates as them in this sentence. Sentirse, feel, and mejor, better.
Doy medicamentos y consejos para ayudarlos a sentirse mejor.
In this sentence, we have me siento, which means I feel, feliz or feliz, which means happy, porque, because, and again we've got the personal a. Ayudo a las personas. I help people. Mantenerse translates as to stay in this sentence, and saludables means healthy. Let's take a closer look at this adjective, saludables. Earlier we saw the adjectives enfermo, sick, and mucho, many, and both of those adjectives change for gender and also for number. However, there are some adjectives like saludable, which ends in an E, which only changes for number. Now I'm going to play the audio without any subtitles, and you can see if you can pick out any of those points we just covered in that last part of the video.
Mi nombre es Ana y soy médica. Ayudo a las personas cuando están enfermas. Trabajo en un hospital en la ciudad. Veo a muchos pacientes todos los días. Escucho sus problemas y hago preguntas. Doy medicamentos y consejos para ayudarlos a sentirse mejor. Me siento feliz porque ayudo a las personas a mantenerse saludables.
By the way, if you're moving into intermediate Spanish, I have a reading series available on Amazon called Spanish Intermediate Reading Comprehension. It has interesting articles on a wide variety of topics with grammar and vocabulary broken down and explained. It's linked in the description if you're interested. Now let's test what you've learned in this video with a quiz.
Ayudo a las personas cuando están enfermas. Trabajo en un hospital en la ciudad. Veo a muchos pacientes todos los días. Escucho sus problemas y hago preguntas. Doy medicamentos y consejos para ayudarlos a sentirse mejor. Me siento feliz porque ayudo a las personas a mantenerse saludables.
If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, please give it a like. That really does help the algorithm. This was Spanish Mastery with Steve, and thanks for watching.